Hello, welcome. Very nice to be here. Very nice to have you here. Thank you for coming to the party. Now I'll make sense of that comment in a couple of minutes. Thank you for coming to the party. But this is a very interesting time that we're playing, and this is a very interesting experience that we're all stepping into. So in this call, this is the first of many. This is a journey that we're playing in. It's not so much just a meditation that we're going to sit and be quiet and be hopeful and hope there's going to be a better world. This is a co-creation. This is an event that has been dreamt about for many, many eons of time. And here we are creating this. This journey that we're playing on right here is really about something unique about you. And we'll play with that as we kind of go forward. So my name is Jim Self. For those of you who don't know who I am, welcome. Happy to have you here. We're playing in a place where there is a change that's unfolding. And this change is really huge. And so my good friend, Steve Rother, and I are going to kind of act on this journey as pointers. And not so much teachers, but really pointers. You see, because everything that we're going to talk about, you already know. And it's going to begin to start to come into your awareness. It's going to begin to be something that you are going to remember. So whether you're here for the first time and you stumbled into this, you're not even sure why you're here, or whether you've been playing at this game of spirituality your entire lifetime. This is an event that we're playing with that is going to be very significant. There's over 2,000 of you on this call. Pretty exciting. But in the non-physical world, there is a pause that has been unfolding, and now it's time to restart. But in this pause, there are many who are participating in bringing about a change in this world. So let me tell you a little bit about how we got here on one hand. So this is an evolving story. And in my reality, I've always had this voice in my head. And that voice has really been pretty clear. And how I've come to understand it, it was directing this internal guidance system in the heart. And people that I played with would say, let's go do this. And something would say, I don't think so. And other times, everybody else would say, no, we can't do this. But this said, jump, fly, you can do this. Now, you all know that place. Every time you listen to this, you come out on your feet. If you look back at your life, when you listened, it all worked out. There was a point along the way in my spiritual evolution, really back in about 2005, when this voice began to have more of a name to it, and the name was Metatron, one of the archangelics, lords of light. And Metatron said extremely clearly, there's a path that's never been walked before. It's all about your personal ascension, your evolution, your own remembrance of who you are. It's about elevating the earth back to its 12th dimensional, fully Christed state of consciousness, and creating a new realm of consciousness that creates a doorway for all that have been playing on the game board of the third dimension to be able to step off, to be able to go home and remember who they are. Would you like to play? Metatron said. Well, you don't really say to Metatron, let me get back to you. So the journey started. And very quickly, a very delightful person came into my awareness. Joan Walker is her name. She's a channel, not very flashy. She's very clear about what she does and very good at it. And Joan and I began to have this awareness that we had an agreement. And the agreement was that she was going to channel Metatron, Yeshua, Michael, Mary, Anna, the mother of Mary, and many of the other ascended beings. And we would have a conversation, that being and myself, and it would be recorded and it would be available to everybody. And then my task was to step it down so I could simply say, here, try this on and see how it works. And that's been a very successful journey. Steve Rother, who's going to co-create this with me, the other pointer right here, and there may be many others that come into this game as we continue on. Steve has his own story about how this evolution is unfolding. But between the two of us, to start with, we're going to simply be the pointers, not the teachers, but simply say, look over here and see what you see. We're in a game change. The game is changing. Think of it in terms of seasons. You know, you get a spring and then a summer, then a fall, and then you get an ebbing into the winter time. In the third dimensional game, the game that we've all grown up in, the game that we've played for this whole lifetime, we're moving into an ending time. Don't hear that in any negative way. It's just the ending time. The season is changing. And simultaneously, there's another season arising. And this season is the one that we're sitting here talking about. There's a level of light that is coming into the awareness. It's as if the day is dawning and all of a sudden I'm seeing a little bit more. I'm seeing a little bit more. The curtains are more or less being pulled back. And so as that's happening, you are beginning to remember why you're here. Now, a lot of people have had frustration with why they're here. I don't fit. I don't belong. Must be from another planet. This world is not what I'm all about. I experience I'm not okay. And many have been frustrated this whole lifetime. It's like, why am I here? This is why you're here. What we're in the process of doing, you have a puzzle piece. Oh, you may not know what that is at the moment, but as we evolve and as we move through this, that puzzle piece is going to become conscious. And this game will be incomplete until everybody's puzzle piece is laid into this. But we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. Now, remember, this is going to evolve. So what I'd like to do today is just kind of really talk about how this is going to evolve. And one of the pieces is this opportunity is coming about. And this opportunity is all about ease and joy and laughter and co-creation and cooperation and friends. But, you know, we maybe didn't have that opportunity in some way in our growing up space. This opportunity is huge. You're beginning to feel it. You wouldn't be on this call. It's not an accident if you're on this call. But what if all of that third dimensional game, that fear, that doubt, that loneliness, that sense of no authority, what if you could change that? What if you could simply step out of that? What if you could step onto another platform, a platform of well-being, of laughter, of joy, of ease? What if? Would you do that? Now, in a way, that's not a new question, and it's not a new what if. You have spent lots of time asking yourself, why am I not happy? Why am I not joyful? Why am I not really enjoying what I want? And what the answer to a great extent is we're playing in a very sticky game. This game, we'll call it the third dimensional game board that we're playing in. Now, let me also say, I'm going to say a lot of things here that many of you have heard before. Hear them with new ears in this case, because we're building something quite new. But that third dimensional game that we've all grown up in, it's quite sticky, as a matter of speaking. It's something where I keep getting pulled back into. And so, but there are rules and structures to the game, that stickiness. It's very unconscious in a lot of ways, this game. So what are some of the conditions, the pieces of the game? One of the primary conditions is this concept called time. In this third dimensional game board, time is one very specific thing. It's past, present, future. Then you die. And that's how it is. There's no other choice. That's just how it is. There's conditionality. This is a conditional game. You do this or else. Conditions. There is an aspect of duality. There's right and wrong and good and bad. And we understand that. Yes and no, up and down, should and shouldn't. And all of that really controls how we play the game. But there's another component. It's really the story you live your life in. The story. But where did the story come from? Well, in real terms, the story came from the mom, dad, teacher, minister. They all, let's decide, they all love you. They all have your best interest in mind. And they basically wanted to create you in their image because that's all they knew. And we're going to not look for bad people. And so you were told, do this, don't do that. This is good, that's bad. Eat these food, don't eat those food. You hang out with these people, you don't hang out with those people. You go to this school, you don't go to that school. And this is what we do in this family. We go to this church, we don't go to that church. And those, watch out for those because, they're those. So the space we've grown up in to a great extent, that first couple of years, you look at these little kids and their eyes are beautiful and they're full of joy and they're sparkling. But you come back at 1 year old, at 1.5, 2 years old, and that diamond space, it's not there anymore. It's kind of pushed further back. And to a great extent, we all came here to play this third dimensional game. And we listened to mom, dad, teacher, minister. And they gave us their story. And to a great extent, we've been living their story. And one component of that, we gave up our seniority. Now think about it. How many times have you heard, I don't give you permission. You are not allowed. This is how this is done. You can't do that. We gave up seniority. Now, not a bad thing or a good thing. We came to play the game. But the game is in its ending season. It's simply beginning to have its day. This new day, this new game is rising up. This new level of light is rising up. What if you could change your story? What if you could simply step over here onto a different platform? A platform that's, we'll call it well-being, that has joy and ease and laughter. You can't do it wrong. You can't screw it up. It's impossible to be not okay, and everybody likes you. Whoa. Would you step over there if you could step over there? Well, the third dimensional game has been very sticky. It's like, yeah, I want to be there, but. And we just haven't been able to get over there. And many have given up. Many have just simply said, well, this is my life and this is how it is. But if you're here, if you are here and you're going to play this evolution, this journey, you're going to walk with us in this process, there's something that is driving you into that space of well-being. Now, I'm not going to lay it all out here today. We're just going to kind of talk about how we're going to play this. But one of the other things about that third dimensional game, whether we recognize it or not, we are in agreement with the story. I don't want to disappoint my mom. I don't want the teacher not to like me. So I'm going to do what they told me, because what they told me was they over there are your answer. If they like you, you'll be okay. If you do what they say and you get good grades and you follow this path, you'll be successful, happy. Maybe, and maybe not for an awful lot of people. But see, we never had really the chance, because of the stickiness of that third dimensional game, to say, wait a minute. Now, many have. They've stepped back and say, wait, I have more authority here. I'm going to live my life on my terms. But most haven't. They've kind of followed the rules. But that day is falling away. That game is falling away. Now, in a way, we're really in the last innings of the game. And you hear this softly. This isn't a problem, this third dimensional game. What is happening in a lot of ways is those who are playing the game are beginning to see this change, and they don't know what to do with it. It's uncomfortable. It's frightening. I don't know what to do. And so they're gathering up their tribes. They're beginning to say, this is the truth, and that's not the truth. Now, this thing about truth is really interesting, and both Steve and I are going to tell you this over and over as we go forward, is we don't have a truth. There is no truth here. We're not selling truth. There's only one that knows the truth, and that's you. That's your truth. Your truth isn't my truth. My truth isn't necessarily your truth, although we can be in agreement about, oh, this is how this is working. This concept of agreement. And that third dimensional agreement is really strong. This is how it works. And so for those of you who have felt I don't belong here, in a lot of ways, what you're really saying is, I'm not in agreement with the agreement. But I don't know how to get out of the agreement, and it's been uncomfortable. But what if there was another story? What if there was a platform that if I just kind of moved over here, there would be comfortableness, happy, quiet, enjoyment. I would find excitement. What if? So I'm going to propose, I'm just going to point that there is another story, there is another platform, there is another opportunity, there is something quite magnificent that is unfolding, and you know it. But I don't know how to get there. So let's see if we can just kind of wander over there and see what happens. So one of the ways that we're going to start this is right now, we're going to begin to play this game, is what if we create a new agreement? Now, this agreement is not rigid. It's not the truth. It's simply a new agreement. And agreements, when you start to play in this spiritual space, is really a statement that says, I am going to be aligned where you're aligned. We're going to kind of match energy. We're going to kind of agree to look over here. Everybody look over there. And this agreement has to do with your crown chakra. And what we're going to do in a moment is simply change the color of your crown chakra. Now, without getting into the depth of that, all that's saying is, look over here, and we're all going to look at the same picture on the wall. And then we'll talk about the picture. We're in agreement. So if you take a breath and sit back for a minute, close your eyes or not, and would you just imagine the top of your head, the crown chakra, at sky blue? It's kind of setting this up. We're all beginning to look in the same place. One of the things about that third dimensional experience, the story, is quietly there's an agreement. And the agreement is that the mom, dad, teacher, minister, and others, they know what they're doing. And I don't have permission to interfere with what they say. Permission. An enormous experience. It's one of those parts of seniority. This is who I am, that we give up. Permission. I don't have permission. I'm not allowed. Do you remember those thoughts? Would you take a breath, and would you consider you've always had permission? You were in agreement with allowing others to direct you, but you have always had permission to create for yourself. You've also always had in that permission the ability to allow, huge words, permission and allow me to experience myself, allow me to practice, allow me to play, allow me to wander over there and all of a sudden realize, ooh, I don't want to be here at all. And learn, oops, one of the really wonderful words in the planet, oops, didn't mean to do that. And it gives you permission to back up. But remember that time thing in the third dimension, time, past, present, future, and you die. Can't say oops to that past very comfortably when they get somebody, they say, you can't do that. That's bad. And all of a sudden we back away and we never go over there again. And then somebody else says no, and we don't go over there again. And pretty soon all the no's, and that's not right, and you didn't do it right, and what's wrong with you, and I don't like you, you're never going to succeed, there's nothing nice about you, nobody's going to like you. Whoa. All of a sudden I've got a lot of parameters, a lot of limitations that the game creates. Sky blue. No limitations. I can wander in and out. I can move. There's many other colors we'll talk about in a moment. But what if I could recognize that's not the game I want to play? I want to step away. I want to simply come over here and begin to play another game. Now, one of the key components of this, we're not looking for who's bad or good. You begin to step into this new platform, and there is no good or bad. In fact, there's no fear. There's simply opportunity. I could choose to bring my attention into that's bad, but it doesn't feel very good. And as you start to play in this higher vibration, we'll talk about in a moment, it's not what I think, it's what I feel. And so, another breath, if you would. Let me begin to point to some things that as we begin to move over here onto this other platform, onto this other state of well-being, we're going to call it the fifth dimensional consciousness, the game board of fifth dimension. Now, again, there's no truth. We're just setting up opportunities to begin to take a look at some of the agreements that we hold, some of the beliefs, some of the habits, and recognize they may not be beliefs and habits that are in present time, that are here, that are mine. So one of the things in terms of what you want to know is, let's just kind of go through 3 or 4. Now, right here, if you've got your pencil and your notes and you're taking notes, Adele, put your pencil down. Just put your pencil down. We're going to do this over and over, and we're going to talk about how do you begin to create this framework? How do you begin to live in it? How do you begin to feel it? How do you begin to enjoy yourself in a way that isn't conditioned, another one of those third dimensional words, on whether somebody else approves of me or not? Now, there's a little sidebar to that, because as you start to give to yourself, as you start to enjoy yourself, as you start to like yourself, love yourself, appreciate yourself, as that light begins to get brighter and brighter in the happiness that you're playing, you actually are freeing up those that hold that same lack of permission in that same agreements. You begin to break the agreements. Now, the interesting thing about breaking agreements is there's no work in it. It's not something that you fix. It's something that you don't give attention to. So let's just talk about that, attention. Now here, a lot of people go, oh, I know about this one, the law of attraction. Now, this to me is one of the cornerstones of how for me, build out that platform. I've come to understand that the law of attraction, for me, is pretty flawless. And so you got to hear what the law of attraction is. Law of attraction simply says, what you put your attention on, I will provide for you. Period. No but, no further commentary. In the third dimension, where most of us play, we go, oh, I get the law of attraction, but it doesn't work. I don't get what I asked for, or my affirmations don't work. But it's a good concept, but there is no but at the end of the law of attraction statement. So as you begin to move over here in this platform, and a lot of the agreement falls away. A lot of the shoulds fall away. The good and the bads fall away. All of a sudden, you find yourself, there's an ease in this place. Let's just consider this law of attraction. What you put your attention on, the universe says, you're a creator being. I will not second guess you. You're the creator being. My job as the universe is simply to provide the components of what you think, what you feel, what you wish, what you want to create. You want an apple, boom, the apple will appear if you will allow it. So, law of attraction. What you put your attention on is what you get. Now, just kind of hear that because we're going to expand it. Period. There's no but. There's no argument. There's no prove it to me. It's just simply, I would like an apple, boom, the apple appears. Now, that's what happens on this platform, but don't believe me. We'll get there as we move through this. Let's talk about another component, something you want to know about this platform. This will sound maybe insignificant. It's not. It's huge. Frequencies and vibrations and geometries. Now, frequencies are these huge movements of light with no conditions, no wobbles, pure light, pure beauty. Vibrations are when two frequencies rub against one another and it creates a ripple, or it creates a noise, it creates a sound, it creates a color, it creates something, it creates a vibration. When you play in the third dimensional game, we'll get to in a moment, and you hold your thoughts in the conditionality of the third dimension, and in the belief system that we've created in the story kind of goes like, I'm not okay. Do you know that place where you've asked yourself over and over and over, I'm not okay. I don't fit. Something's wrong. How does that feel? All you're doing is simply saying to the universe, I know I'm beautiful, wonderful, excited, but, and there's that vibration. Now, so vibrations, smooth, elegant, lovely, wonderful to play with. Vibrations also are really valuable. That sense of taking love in all of its capacities and rubbing two components of it together to get gratitude or beauty or a sense of laughter. Vibrations, very important. And then one more piece. In physicalness requires a geometry. Physicalness. Now, kind of another sidebar, physicalness is just a little tiny component of all that is. Most everything is non-physical, but we're playing in a really unique game. Physical. We'll talk a lot about that later. So, vibrations, frequencies, geometries, law of attraction. Law of attraction. I want beauty. And I simply am able to put my attention on the vibration, gratitude, graciousness, laughter, joy, smile, appreciation, co-creation, cooperation. I like me. You see, that's there. That's in this platform. The universe is making that available. Now, there's another component, feminine and masculine. Actually, really pretty important. Feminine and masculine. And we're not talking about bodies. We're not talking about psychology. We're talking about the impulse of creation from the creator. And the first impulse of creation is feminine. Now, feminine. Here we're going to define feminine as flow and movement and swirls and curves. No straight lines, no angles. In the masculine side, lots of straight lines and angles. And what simply happens in that yin and yang is the feminine says, I wonder, how would it be possible? I have an impulse, an idea, a consideration, a concept. And the masculine says, I can build that. I can make that work. I can do that. I can make that. And they come together into creation. The feminine. the first impulse of creation. First impulse. Now, there's one more part of that is kind of important. And that is this concept of thoughts and emotions. Thoughts and emotions. Now, take a breath with me right here. In the third dimensional game, as we play it out, needing to change something here. In this third dimensional game, as we kind of play it out, we have thoughts and emotions. Thoughts are electrical, emotions are magnetic. In the third dimensional game, we all know that because I have this thought, and a lot of times the thoughts are unmanaged. Oh, that makes me angry. And all of a sudden there's a thought and an emotion slams into that thought. We aren't very good at managing our relationship to how we think and how we create. We're very reactionary in that third dimensional game. We have lots of impulses in that third dimensional game. And we are responding to, I want to be okay, but I don't know how to be okay. And I don't know what they really are thinking or how they really want me to do this. And so I try to fit in, but a lot of times those thoughts and feelings don't exactly work out. In the game and this new platform, the ability to manage your thought and attach a feeling to it is going to become considerably more comfortable than it has been in the third dimensional game. In the third dimensional game, we are responding to what we think they want and not necessarily what we want. But when you step into this new platform and beginning to build this new story, what you start to say is, in this flow of frequencies, in this nature of beginning to understand, the first impulse is the thought of creation in flow. There's no edges. I have an idea I'd like to experience. I wonder how this is possible. You're going to find that thought and emotion begins to be the building block, coupled with the vibrations of geometry, the law of attraction, the ability to simply say, I want an apple, and the apple will be in your hand. So another breath, if you would. In this third dimensional game, that is very much reactionary. It's not thought out well. We're constantly responding. But in this fifth dimensional game, a number of things change. And one of the things that changes is time. Time. You see, time is not fixed. Time is an application. There's 5 different considerations of present time. But when you get into present time and you get out of third dimensional linear time, everything changes. So one of the pieces that change is third dimension, past, present, future, you die. It's that past thing. Everything that happened in the past is fixed, it's stuck, this is how it is, that's who I am because I did this thing. Somebody didn't approve, I'm not okay. Can you see how that all of a sudden starts to loop? But what happens is you start to step into this present time, this other configuration of present time, only right now. Now, and we'll play a lot at this, what if now you look back at past time and you realize there are 2 components. One component of the past is a piece of information. I did this. I stole the candy bar. Yep, I did that. I got in trouble. I got yelled at. I got blamed. I was really guilty. I was punished. I was embarrassed. I was told I'm not okay. And I can't change that. That's that piece of information. In third dimension, that's how it is. But in this fifth dimension, in this other platform, What happens is you begin to recognize that the past is two components. One, I stole the candy bar. The other one is the emotion, all that guilt, embarrassment. If I say to you or you say to me, "Do you ever do anything bad?" "Yeah, I stole a candy bar." "Oh gosh, I'm so guilty." The interesting thing is when you begin to understand that thoughts are electrical, emotions are magnetic, that you start to recognize that emotions only occur in the present moment. And so if I look at my stealing the candy bar and I right now in present time don't have an emotion attached to it, I get to ask a very different question. Am I going to do that again? Probably not. Does it have any bearing on me in this lifetime where I'm playing right now? No. Do I need to continue to carry around that attachment to the guilt, the embarrassment right now? No. Does it serve me right now? No. Does it have any value right now? No. What happens in this platform is that level of awareness that so much of what I'm carrying in my backpack of I'm not okay has nothing to do with you right now. And it is something that is able to be let go of without going through therapy and guilt and all the other things. What if you could step onto this platform and all that goes away? Now, 5 aspects of present time. One of those 5, we'll call it the 4th aspect of present time, allows you to see everything about you. Now, some will have a hard time with this, or some won't understand this, or some will not even believe this is possible. But what if you could look at all your past lives, your future lives, everything about you in simultaneous time, in right now, and begin to recognize how you put your attention on that law of attraction in this aspect of time being now. Everything unlike the joy, the ease, the beauty, the smile that I wish to create falls off the table, goes away, simply goes away. Would that change how we play the game? Now, we'll play with this quite a bit in these coming sessions, but you have choice in a story that nobody ever told you because of the stickiness of the third dimensional game. Now, playing in that third dimensional game is going to turn out to be extremely valuable for reasons that are not obvious at the moment. But when you begin to recognize that if I just go over here into this other alignment of energy, the ability to simply change the game becomes rather significant. Okay, now, one more piece. How does creation work? Really useful piece of information. You see that feminine energy, that aspect of creator, God, all that is, supreme being, whatever you wish to call that consciousness. That very first spark of feminine energy is kind of that immaculate conception in a way. It's that divine spark that kind of says creation. At that level, I have an idea. But you experience it as a consideration. It's like, oh, it's a, gee, this is interesting. And it's a spark. It's actually an electron, but it's a spark in your mind. And then from that spark, you have a thought, this is interesting. And that electron begins to organize itself into an atom. I'm being very clear about how creation happens. This is not a story. That atom begins to be an idea, and the idea gets interesting, and pretty soon the idea begins to be a concept. And a concept, the atoms begin to gel into molecules. And it's a concept. This is really interesting. And then there's another spark. It's like, yes, I can do this. And the creation comes into presence. Now, very mechanical, very straightforward. On this platform, understanding, or as we will play out, playing with these aspects of construction of creation, all of a sudden changes the game significantly. Now, why are we saying this? Why are we talking about this right now? I'm just setting up what you want to begin to know, where we're going to go. But when we step over here into this multidimensional reality, a number of things begin to happen. You begin to get happy. You begin to recognize, I don't have to hold on to those emotions that hold me hostage to how to enjoy my life. You begin to create a level of light in that internal guidance system in the heart. We're going to play there in a moment. That simply allows you to start to create without challenges. Now, that's a pretty big statement, but we're going to start to play in a place that is different. Now, take another breath. In my agreement with Metatron, and in the whole setting out of this journey, one of those components was creating a new realm of consciousness, this new state of being we're talking about. How that realm of consciousness works is you don't fix the third dimension. Now, right now, there's lots of challenge, lots of turmoil in that third dimension. It's not yours to fix. It's not necessary to fix. It's really not even broken. It's just unwinding itself, trying to get out from how it has been created. What's really happening is every one of these beings on the planet is trying to unravel itself to go over here into this platform of this story, this new story, the who you are. You begin to create at such a level of light that light begins to be that magnetism of feeling, joy, ease, well-being, gratitude, graciousness, begins to be extremely magnetic in its brightness. And all of a sudden, others begin to see what is possible. They begin to see this opportunity over there. You know, it's like having a party next door to you, and you've kind of heard it was going to happen, and it's starting to happen, but you didn't get an invitation. At least you don't think you got an invitation. And all of a sudden, it's happening, and there's all this light over there, and it's noise, laughter, and joy, but you weren't invited. But you're curious. And so you go stand on the property line and you look over there and you realize that there's nobody guarding the door and the door is wide open. And all of a sudden somebody walks by and say, hey, will you help me out? We carry this in for me. You go, yeah, okay. And you carry it in and you put it on the table and somebody says, well, what is that you got? It smells like something. And you say, well, I think it's oregano. Yes, oregano. And all of a sudden you're in conversation. And now you're sitting at the table and you're there. You're there. Did you work hard at being there? Anybody kick you out? You're there. As we begin to progress through these next months of time, building this platform, beginning to recognize that internal smile, that sense of beauty that begins to illuminate the world, that puzzle piece that we talked about that you come into this world with, all that whole lifetime where I didn't matter, it didn't make sense, I don't know why I'm here. You are about to find your puzzle piece. It's the building of this new realm, this level of light, this opening the door, this ability to begin to personally give to yourself 100% to yourself, to be able to be 100% in service to others while you're laughing, enjoying yourself the entire time, beginning to remember who you are and where you came from as you begin to recognize that you're beginning to go home. Very exciting place that we're starting to play. So let me just allow that to be part of the background. Part of the things you might want to know is we're kind of moving over there to play the game. So would you take a breath and let's kind of begin to experience the over there for a few moments. Would you leave your eyes open if you would? Sit back and would you be comfortable? Another breath. And would you bring your attention, law of attraction, to your intention? Intention to simply be comfortable. And would you relax? And would you become quiet? Just simply a breath and become quiet. No thinking. And then would you also notice present time? Would you be right here, right now, quiet? Nothing to do, nothing to accomplish. Another breath. And then would you notice that you are aware? I'm present, I'm quiet, I've got my eyes open, I'm aware. I'm right here, the room's over there, I'm right here, quiet, present, and aware. Now, would you take another breath and would you close your eyes and simply be present, quiet, and aware? And would you just kind of notice yourself? And would you bring your attention to comfortable? Comfortable. And we're looking for that park bench that we came here to sit on. And we're just going to kind of walk down this path. We're just going to wander down this path here for a moment because that park bench is really right down here. And as you begin to kind of wander, if you just notice it's a nice day, it's comfortable, the temperature is pleasant, got nothing to do, nothing pulling on me. Relaxed. And kind of as we walk down this path, it's a nice day, sky blue. It's a spring day. The plants are starting to come out. The air is pleasant. Maybe there's a little stream we're wandering by. Look right over there. There's a deer and a new fawn. Kind of creates a smile in this heart space. But I'm right here. I'm present. I'm observing. I'm quiet. I'm aware. And in this space of being comfortable, I like this. Can you find that space of allowing yourself to enjoy this? Relaxed. And there's a smile right here in this space. And as you begin to kind of recognize there's that park bench also, I'm just going to sit here, look out at this creek and nice blue sky, very comfortable. I like me. I'm enjoying this space. And as I kind of gaze out into this kind of spring day, there's an atmosphere. There's a joy that's beginning to be here. It's just very relaxed. It's as if I'm beginning to find a personal space. This is my space. This park bench, very personal space. It's a place where I begin to know myself, begin to recognize myself. There's no story here. It's just simply, this is who I am. Begins to become much clearer right here. And it starts to get brighter all around, and it begins to be a sense of beauty. And there's an ease that starts to happen, and it's actually, if you notice, it's as if it's just getting cooler, it's getting lighter, it's beginning to have a sense of buoyancy to it. It's very comfortable if you just simply will notice all around you. This sense of well-being is starting to form. Well-being. There's no conflict right here. I'm comfortable. This is not a future space, a space where, oh, I want to go someday. This is a right now, this moment. Nice smooth breath, relaxed, comfortable. You can kind of even just sink a little bit more into that park bench. This is a very personal space. This is who I am. And in this space, I have permission. Right here, as I kind of sit on this park bench in this space, it's very much who I am. It's in the heart that I'm sitting on this park bench. And as I look around, it's very quiet. And yet, there's a lightness to this, a joy in this space, a smile. And if you allow that smile, a little bigger smile, a little more smile, a little bigger. And if you would feel the sense of beauty all around you, that coolness of the air, maybe the sound of the little creek. And if you just notice right here in present time, in this present now moment, there's no past, there's no future, there's just right now, there's a smile, a permission. And that word seniority begins to be available. This is who I am. And if you would relax into this, there's an ease, almost a lightness, a buoyancy, if you would. It's like being in a wave at the ocean, and it just lifts you up, it gently puts you back down. Happy. Now, if you just consider this is your story, this has always been your story. Happy. And if you'd notice, just look around, the 2,000 of you, we're all sitting here kind of on this park bench, on their park bench, but we're all gathered, two or more, right here, beginning to draw light into this new realm of consciousness. And if you just feel it, there's a sense of purpose. I have purpose. Oh, it's not a someday. It's a recognition of that puzzle piece. This is why I'm here. Oh, I may have other puzzle pieces, but building a realm of consciousness for all in third dimension, which is far more than just this planet. To be able to go home. This is why I'm here. I have purpose. You see, what they didn't tell you in that story was that you're big, you're significant, you're important, you have value. But playing that game in third dimension, there's no room for that game. I have to do what they say. But here, there's a smile and an ease and a beauty that begins to grow, begins to be remembered, begins to be recognized. This is who I am. And there begins to be a sense of certainty, and I'm capable of being here. I belong. And if you look around, you're really at that dinner party. There's lots more gathered. I know these. These are my friends. I belong. And just another breath, and that smile, that sense of beauty, that law of attraction, bringing my attention to this smile and then recognizing it's here. My intention is for my own personal evolution and being 100% about me, 100% about holding this door open. There is no competition, advantage, greed, domination, co-creation. Two or more are gathered on this park bench. And this number will grow by tens and by hundreds, by thousands, before we pause for the next phase. I like me. Can you allow yourself that feeling? I like me. I'm pleased with me. And you see, it's in the beauty and the smile and the ease and the flow and the laughter and the joy and the co-creation and the well-being. I love me. This is what love is. And as I begin to live the love that I am, the joy that I am, the ease, the beauty that I am, the space begins to open and I recognize I am. And I also recognize it is so simple. All that pushing and shoving and third dimension and I could never figure it out. Well, you're correct. Didn't exist there. It was a different game. This is my story. And as I begin to recognize my story, smile, laughter. I get to laugh at me, with me. And it's one of those wonderful places where you do something silly and everybody laughs at you, with you, and you do too. It's like, oh, wow, that was a silly thing. And everybody is in joy. This is who you are. It's been forgotten. We've been giving a lot of attention to things that we were told we should be doing. The old story. And you see right here on this park bench, right here in this sacred part of the heart, in this smile, there's nothing broken, nothing to forgive, nothing to change, nothing to fix. We've all been playing our part in our play, and it's time to go home. Well, no, not exactly. It's time for the final act. The act where you're able to recognize this is what all that was about. The ability to recognize an aspect of this imprint that I participated in an aspect of separation from Creator. Something I have hold myself hostage to. I didn't do it right, some say. But what will come to pass is that playing out that role is given an awareness to see Creator in a way the Creator has never been seen in all that is, because this imprint that you hold of not seeing the Creator will allow you to see the Creator in ways that has never been before. And you see, this is that part, big, significant, important. There's the big ones who said, I will go, I will put this bag over my head, I will dive into that darkness, I will wallow around in all of that so that I will know the Creator in a way that's never been before. And now there's this smile. And all of that of the third dimension begins to fall away. And as we each begin to recognize the bigness of what is going on in all that is, you also begin to recognize you are the lead actor in your play. And I have a role, a purpose, a puzzle piece to simply allow all that is to step into this multi-dimensional space of beauty with a smile. So would you be pleased with yourself? Different story. Never heard this story before. But what if this is your story? What if here you could choose to step out of that fear, denial, doubt, blame, victim, loneliness, and begin to hold this level of light? And it's right now. So another breath, pleased with yourself, if you will allow. Can you consider, I wish to explore the story a little bit more. This new realm of consciousness, this sense of exploring creation in ways that simply is how it works that I didn't know before. Just take another breath. I like me. I'm pleased with me. This is an exciting journey we are about to embark upon. So another breath. Wiggle your toes. just take a moment, breathe your eyes open, stay right here in that smile, that sense of beauty, that pleased with yourself. Move your shoulders, turn your head. Like me. So we're at the place where we're not any longer even standing on the dock. We've gotten on the boat. And the boat has begun to leave the dock on this adventure. It's not coming, it's here. And from this vantage point of beginning to watch the transition into light, it's going to happen very quickly in a manner of speaking, but you get to have front row seats. So in the coming months, we'll begin to be more specific in playing in this space, sitting on this park bench, creating light and joy and ease, that apple in your hand, and beginning to hold that smile at such a level that all in the house will begin to see the light on the candlestick, as somebody said once upon a time. So would you just kind of begin to, maybe for the rest of your day, walk away from this space, but don't leave this space. Would you begin to ponder this space? What if there's another story and I am fully conscious of the other story to choose? So with that said, come back in 2 weeks. We're going to play the second and the fourth Sunday of every month, probably well through February, building this platform of well-being. So with that said, go off, have yourself a lovely day. We appreciate you. Blessings.